gals, this is Rich Brown again with American Warrior Society. Here today we're going to talk about our edged weapons that we carry on a daily basis. And with me once again is Andrew Keith, our fan fave, and Chad Faulkner. You may know him as Chad Ray from the side. Both these gentlemen have been writing for American Warrior Society for quite some time now. Both are plank owners. And I would like to start with Andrew. Andrew, tell us about what you carry and why you carry it.
Here lately, since I've gotten this knife, this has been my everyday knife. It is the Yojimbo 2 from Spyderco, and probably the best review you could probably see on it would be from Mike Janich, because he knows more about blades than I do. But I liked his review, which is why I bought the knife. He talks about the shape of the blade, being able to have power to the tip in your slashes, and it's also very sharp, very extra stabby. And there's even a piece of the handle that sticks out between most people's bottom of their grip here to use as an impact weapon also. I like Mike Janich's train of thought for defensive knives. It's not just, stab, 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 and hope for the best,
right?
Because it does take time for someone to bleed out. So even if you stab them through a major artery or vessel that is very important to them, then it's still going to take 60 seconds, 90 seconds, or however much fight they have in them, and you're still going to have to fight this person. So his is more attack mobility, like cutting the inside of the forearm.
Yeah, he calls it defanging the snake, right?
Exactly. So I liked his train of thought on that. This was the knife he recommended. This is the knife I bought and carry.
Cool. And Chad, what are you running?
So I'll start with one I've been experimenting with. I got this through Mechanics Hill Marketing. It's the Manti Cuda Hardpoint Equipment. Special purpose knife. I was asked to try it out, and so kind of getting used to it as far as technique. I'm of the Mike Janich school of thought when it comes to the counter blade concepts and martial blade concepts. So this doesn't really fit that style very well, but it's something I've carried a few times. It's probably a good, I would say if you're doing a movement to contact, if you're in a very rough area, this might be a good backup to have as well. But I've got several knives, maybe not as much as Uncle Rich over here. But right now, what I've been carrying a lot is the Spyderco that we got at the AWS camp last year. It's a good little compact knife. I've got a few that are different brands, but generally this same style. The only thing really I'll mention about it is one thing after having attended the AWS camp last year and learning a little more and coming into the martial blade concept style of using a knife, I did switch the clips to where the blade would open up like this, so as you pull it out, you've got that good draw so that you can open it up. But I'm not real technical when it comes to knives. I get a knife, I carry it, it's sharp. I've got some techniques now that I attended AWS camp, and I've been taught some blade stuff as well. In my day job, we've used knives similar to this, daggers. But I don't get real deep. I carry this, and hopefully this will do what I need to do.
Right, and of course, Chad currently is an active duty member in the U.S. Army, and you read anything Chad's written, his bio's at the bottom, and same thing with Andrew's, currently a patrol sergeant and a SWAT member. I want to talk about mine a little bit, and just like these gentlemen here, Mike Janich, I've attended his martial blade camp out in Colorado several years running.
Get into Uncle Rich's knife collection.
Yeah. But even further back than that, when I was a close combat instructor in the Marine Corps, we used a completely different thought process. We weren't defanging anybody. It was a very tip-down centric style of fighting, and you were just there to basically cut their throat and move on. So I really like, but that isn't necessarily applicable to the things we would find ourselves in a defensive encounter and have to justify why you did what you did. So I love the thought process that Mike Janich has put into it, and if you haven't checked it out on the site, I'll try to put some links in here on this video to some of the edge weapon stuff that we have from Mike on the site. I want to tell you about the things I carry and why. If you're not familiar with this is it's a TDI, Tactical Defense Institute. It's made by KBAR. I really liked this little knife and carried it for a long time. There were some problems. I did some modification here because I wanted my grip to go all the way. You can wear it on your belt, and it conceals pretty well, and the sheath is pretty doggone good. I like this style. I think it could still work with the style that we use with cutting instead of stabbing. But you could technically use this as a punch. A lot of police officers carry them behind their mag pouches as a means to defend against, if someone's trying to take your firearm. The way I always kind of envision using my edge weapons is somebody's trying to take my firearm and I have to cut them off my firearm. So this would work really well. One of the things with the TDI, because they're so prevalent out there, there's lots of aftermarket sheaths to wear them in any different configuration you want. One of the complaints with the first generation with TDI was, yeah, but if I could take the knife away from me because there's no locking, no retention device. So the thing they did with this version is they actually put a thumb retention device on there. And you'll see the same kind of, almost very similar to the Warncliffe blade design that pushes that cutting out all the way out to the tip. And it's a very thick blade, as you can see. The blade runs, it's one-piece blade design, very ergonomic to the hand. The other thing the knife has to be able to do is cut someone else without cutting me. And I think that all these knives up here that we've shown you today does a really good job of keeping your hand safely away from the cutting surface. So then I kind of moved away from the TDI once I started training exclusively with Mike Janich and really became an acolyte to his system. So I bought a Yojimbo 2, much like you, Andrew, and I carry this for a very long time, and I really love this knife. And again, having spent a lot of time with Mike and him explaining it again and again why this knife is damn near perfect, I tend to agree with him. But there's one thing that I did not like about this knife, and that is it did not have the wave opener. Because the thing about with a fixed blade, like these TDI knives, you don't have it, once you draw the knife is ready to go. You don't have to manually open the knife. So with a wave opener like this Black Talon 2, when you draw the knife from your pocket, and you may or may not be familiar with it, it catches on the pocket and draws itself. So it's an incredibly fast opening knife. This Cold Steel Black Talon 2 is my current carry knife. And if you look at the design, although it's not in the Warncliffe configuration, which is preferred by Mr. Janich for his system, I think that it still does a great job of utilizing the same motions. This is not designed to stab anybody.
But it's very scary.
It is scary.
I'm scared just from being out here with you having that thing up.
It is a scary looking knife.
Very wild looking knife.
But I tell you what, I did a lot of research on this. The triad locking system that they use, that Cold Steel uses, is by far the best in the industry. The steel that it's constructed out of, phenomenal. And it is a wave opener and G10 scaling. They've smoothed the edges. It actually doesn't take up any more in your pocket than this, although they would seem like one's much bigger than the other. Really enjoy this knife. But I'm always on the lookout for something else. And so I bought this several months back, and I've been playing around with it. Sock P by Benchmade. Pretty interesting little design. You can carry it down your pants, and really all that would stick up is the top of the ring. Wear it on your plate carrier. I'm an old guy, Andrew. I don't wear plate carriers anymore. You may not know that.
Put it on his walker.
I could put it on.
Put it in the pocket of his wheelchair.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I might do that. Or my oxygen tank. But anyway, this is a pretty neat little knife here if you're not familiar with it. You can set it up any way you want. When you buy the knife, a lot of times they'll come with a trainer. And this one, they come in configurations, like you said, some of them are daggers where they're sharp on both sides. This one, I didn't want it that way. I wanted it sharp on one side so that I could still use it in Janich's configuration, even though I carry it that way. And the idea is, the intent is you draw it out like this. You can still fire your handgun like this because it doesn't even, the finger's not in the way. One of the problems with knives is, if I'm transitioning from an edge weapon to my firearm, what the hell do I do with this? Do I really want to screw around with it? Do I throw it on the ground? What do I do with it? So that's kind of where the Sock P comes in that you don't have to. You can draw the handgun like this and present, and it just kind of stays out of the way. So I thought that was pretty cool. Vernon's still out.
I think if you're going to fight with a ring knife, you need to have that that system.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
like, what's the guy's name? Is it Doug Marcadia? I don't want to butcher his last name too bad. Very phenomenal guy with a ring, you know, knife,
Mhm.
that style of knife with the ring on the end. He's probably the top
Oh, you're
guy
talking about
for that.
karambits and stuff like that.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Things like karambits and with the ring on the end, he's very good because there's ways you can flip that thing around to a different grip and alternate your
Mhm.
grip and all that sort of stuff. You know, with the Mike Janich, the videos I've seen and his system, you know, certain knives adhere to certain systems better.
Mhm.
And that's just, if you're gonna buy the knife, go with the system. that's
You're
right
absolutely
around.
right.
Yeah, so on this one, that's kind of, I have one of these.
Mhm.
Again, I drove 6 hours to get here to make this blog a little livelier.
Thank you, Chad.
But so with this style, like Andrew said, you have to be trained for it, because what I have seen is, because I've got the trainer too.
Mhm.
You give this to a person with a trainer, and they start trying to do stuff other than that. And they've got this. I've seen people do this number
Oh, yeah.
and whatnot. So if you start talking about the functionality of it as far as being able to leave it on, you got to be careful, because
Mhm.
people will point this thing in directions that you don't want to point it.
And that's funny, you know, where I saw this was, I think, your training partner last year at AWS camp was running one of these, wasn't he? Jason Kelly?
Jason had one,
Yeah.
Jason.
And Jason, if you haven't, he does some of our combatives on the side. I'll try to put links in it as well. But Jason Kelly, great trainer, and he was running one of these, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. I bought it and tried it out. Don't know that I'll keep using it, but
The Wave takes some training as well too. I didn't know what the Wave was, and I had a knife that was given to me that had the Wave on it, and I was like, man, this thing keeps opening when I pull it out of my pocket. So it takes some getting used to as well, and until you're used to it, it can also be dangerous, because
yeah,
I was pulling my knife out and it would be like half open.
yeah.
So you have to.
Yeah, you have to be careful with those. I've got an Endura 4 with the Wave feature on it. You have to be careful just taking it out of your pocket to put it down with your stuff.
For the knife,
Because
yeah.
it
It's
partially
not bad.
opens, you know, and your draw stroke for that knife is a little different.
So it's a plus and minus.
And that's the story of the Emerson Wave. If you don't know it, it's kind of interesting. You know, Emerson was making knives, and some SEAL said, "Can you make a knife that has a little thing on it?" And he did it, but it was no intention of having it actually open when you draw it out. And he said, about the time I was taking my knife out of my pocket, my cell phone was ringing, and the guy said, "Hey man, do you realize when you take this out of your pocket, it opens?" And then he ran out and patented it very smartly, and now everybody's having to pay him to put that feature on their knife. But I love the Wave opener. Used to it now, and it doesn't bother me at all. But anything else, gentlemen, on any of the edge weapons you carry? I think we all are not a stabby. We're more defang the snake, cut the tendons, cut the flexors, and
I think that style is important too, with the availability of body armor and those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah,
Because stabby will not work if you encounter somebody that is wearing some kind of kit.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also I think it achieves your goal a lot faster.
Absolutely.
If we're having a good old fashioned knife fight and I cut the tendons that make your hands close and you drop the knife, I win.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I stab you even, sever a carotid or something like that, I've still got to fight you until you bleed to the level of consciousness.
That's right.
So if I can stop that fight as quick as possible, that's always good for me.
Yeah.
And I think whatever knife you choose, whatever blade design you choose, whether it's a Warncliffe type blade or, the ring on it, if you buy a knife, that knife is, especially a self-defense knife, it was probably made for a purpose. Find someone who knows that purpose, or like Janich designed this knife, so he knows what it was for. It will obviously work with his system. If you like a ring knife, go to a guy that does the ring knife stuff.
Yeah, what I was going to say, and the final thought on that was, have a trainer. Whatever you have here, make sure you have a trainer. Like Chad said, I have a trainer for this. I have a trainer for this. I have a trainer for everything, and I use them. Or else, if I don't have a trainer for it, I'm not going to carry that system. Anything else, gentlemen, on edge weapons?
But that covers it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out today. And again, my name is Rich Brown of the American Warrior Society. Hey, remember, the fight's coming. Are you ready?